call the MC for the day, Srikanth.
Good evening. Namaskara. Vanakkam. All right. So we'll start the proceedings with the Kuttuvalakku. Thank you. So we now invite our special guest of the evening, ever dapper fashion icon, Mr. Anand Amritraj, to the main table, please. Let us now officially mark the start of a meeting with the ceremonial calling of our President Sergeant at Arms for the day. We call T. Sridhar, President T. Sridhar, to call out the President, please. I now invite our President to call the meeting to order.
This Rotary Club of Guindy, second speaker meeting with legend Anand Amritraj, call to order.
Four-way test of the things that we think or we say or we do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? And most importantly, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, Rotary.
So the thought for today is to be aware of your thoughts. Yeah, that's the thought for today. And because thoughts are very important, they either make you or break you. And it's been well established that we are what we think about ourselves at the deepest level. So those thoughts can either influence you, influence the situation, and can even decide your fate. So that we have a tennis legend among us. So I would like to recommend a book. The name of this book is The Inner Game of Tennis. So it talks about mental strength and why it's important. Because we always think tennis is at a physical level, but tennis players have to be mentally very strong. And the same goes to all of us over here, businessmen. Given the competition, given the economy, given the ups and downs, it's very important for us to be mentally strong. So that's the thought I want to leave with all of you today. Be aware of your thoughts, and thank you very much.
To formally welcome our guest members and distinguished speaker, may I request our dynamic, exuberant President to deliver the welcome address, please.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How is the Josh? Very good evening and welcome again. Whatever we do is on pursuit of happiness, right? Happiness means Anandam. Being born as a human being is Anandam. Being born in Chennai like our chief guest is Anandam. Being a Rotarian is Anandam. Being a member of Rotary Club of Guindy is Anandam. Having Mr. Anand Amritraj, the legend, the Davis Cup captain, a tennis leader, pride of India, to have this evening is Pair Anandam. Big round of applause for him. Now, I would like to share some of the avenue information. After Sam Paul's meeting, last time we had a business person, Sam Paul, as a guest speaker. We started with bang on power speaker. And after that, we had 2 in-track installations. One is Kannada Sangha School. We also donated 2 smart boards. Thanks to Brain Park Consultants, Balachandar and Gurumurthy sir for your generous contribution of smart boards, which is going to increase the value of the school education and for the children's literacy. Then we had new in-track installation, ELM Higher Secondary School. The school is 175 years old school. Okay, we had a privilege of installing them as our in-track, and stay tuned. We are going to come up with a program called Back to School. We are going to conduct their sports day. And after that, yesterday, we had inauguration of 2 more smart boards in NKT school. That's also our CSR partner, PR Balachandar and Gurumurthy. Thanks so much. Keep doing, keep supporting.
A very good evening to everyone. For the month of July, we have smart board distribution project to be completed.
We are pulling all stops to put together a great tour to Kazakhstan.
I would like to invite our member prospect Jangam Rajesh over here.
What is Parimantram? A member will visit another member's office.
We have submitted the first CSR application for this Rotary year.
It's not a new initiative, it's an existing one, but RCC it's a second time initiative.
Yeah, so now the moment we have all been waiting for.
It's a pleasure and honor to be here. And thank you, Suraj. Thank you, ma'am, for Radha for having me here.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, how many of you had goosebumps when you saw the video? I think he deserves a huge round of applause for what he has created for tennis and India. Now that we know who Mr. Anand Amritraj is, let me also introduce the other gentleman who is seated here. Mr. Suraj, who owns a sports retail store, Sports Den, and he also runs multiple pickleball courts in the name of Picklers. He's also a lawyer and amazing conversationalist, so I'm sure when you get to interact with him, you will know how warm he is. So thank you so much, Mr. Suraj, for being here to moderate. And yes, I think he also deserves a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
And he's a very old friend of mine. That's the most important thing. He and I have known each other at least 10 years, to say the least.
That gladly served a purpose for us, sir. He managed to get you here for us. Okay, so let's just quickly start. When I was having the questions noted down, I was just wondering, initially I thought I should not have cliched questions. But then the more I thought about you, the more cliched questions I wanted to ask. Then I realized it's not the question that makes this talk special, it's the perspectives that you give to the question that makes it special. So let's start with your childhood. You grew up with two amazingly talented brothers who were contributing to the sport and the country. How were the dinner table conversations like? Let's start from there.
Well, as I said, we all grew up over here. And we had a house in Sterling Road, and then in Egmore. So this is very much home for me. And I've always thought of it as home. And though Vijay and I have lived in Los Angeles since officially 1978, it's been a long time, and we've come back here. My parents lived. We used to come back here 3 or 4 times a year to visit them. And now they both passed away, so a little bit less. But it's very much, all my best friends are here. And I have more friends here.
That includes me.
That definitely includes you. But I have friends that I grew up with. And I have more friends here in Chennai than I have in the whole of the US. So I'm more than happy to be here. I'm going to be spending more time here in the next 10 years. That's my plan.
I should just add to what Sir just said. The beauty of him, he makes a very routine trip every year, I think twice a year.
Yeah.
And, we've always, caught up every time he's here. So we either go play tennis or we hang out here in Hyatt or, we host him.
Yeah.
It's really, a very, very pleasing personality. So
It became quite convenient for you to come back to Hyatt with him. Okay, so tell us, where did it all start? The love for tennis, because it is easier for us to follow somebody's footpath, but then if they redefine
right there was a secret before you went down to tennis.
We would love to know more about it.
We're just actually talking about it upstairs. The fact that when I was 5, 6, and 7, all I did was play chess. That was my first game.
We just missed the Vishayanand, the senior Vishayanand.
Yeah, but the funny thing, as I was saying earlier, I had 2 uncles who played it. So all I did was watch them play, and then by the time I was 7 or 8, I was quite good in chess, played tournaments, believe it or not. But my mother did not want me in an indoor sport. So at 8, she took me to the local tennis training center and a coach, and he was the most boring guy. So, he would not let me hit the ball for 1 month. He just I'd be swing forehand, backhand, no ball in sight. But as it turns out, it was a good idea because you get your strokes through. And it worked out well. I started at 8, which in this day and age is quite late because I see all these kids and they're playing at 5 years old. So I started with tennis with that and progressed quickly. And by the time I was 13, 14, won the Indian National Juniors. And then 2 years later, Vijay joined me and we progressed from there. But I was playing Suraj earlier. Our first trip to London in 1967, we stayed in a huge room in Earl's Court, and we paid £1 each a night to stay in this place. And it had no toilet, it just had a sink, and you had to go down, but it had the most amazing English breakfast. You had eggs and bacon and toast. We thought we hadn't had anything like it. So it was a lot of fun, and we progressed from there. And now the same place is probably £100 a night for what we paid one. And it was just a matter of, luckily, I had a brother to travel with. I didn't need to, make friends, and we had each other to play doubles, to practice, to hang out, to go to dinner, whatever. So it was a good time.
So yeah, for his slow start with a coach who was boring to becoming a person who used to smash, he had a very stylish serve on the court. So where did the aggression come from? From a slow coach to the aggression, how did the transition happen?
Well, I'm not aggressive, yes, but I was always more aggressive in personality than both my brothers. But I tried to not to make it too impossible on the court. But having said that, in tennis you have to be aggressive, you have to be motivated, and otherwise you're not going to get anywhere. So we were lucky we came in at the right time. We had support from my family, obviously, my mother, and then later my dad as well. So it was all good, and it worked out luckily for us. So but aggression, are you born with it or you're not? In my opinion,
So India was anyway blessed with a legend, either in chess or in tennis. So it happened to be in tennis now. So it's a fantastic thing for Indian tennis and the world tennis, as also for a proud Indian like him.
Yeah. Absolutely. The aggression, as you said, you are either born with it or not. We have seen your aggression on the field when in 1974 when you were in the finals, and then you reached the finals all the way for the very first time, and then you were not allowed to play the finals. So how did that aggression play out at that point of time? How was it then?
Vijay and I were playing a tournament in Stockholm in November of 1974, which was Stockholm indoors, and we heard the news that India was going to default the final to South Africa because of the apartheid policy, which I then and now feel was a huge mistake, only because we were definitely beating them. And I felt that whenever I talk to any of my South African friends now, I tell them, we'd have beaten you 4-1. I see my friend Ray Moore, I see my friend Cliff Drysdale, they're all very good friends of mine. I tell them, you guys have been lucky to win one match. Against them, out of the 5, we would have won 4. But unfortunately, they decided against it, and whatever reason, and we ended up defaulting. And the sidebar to that is the fact that if you default the Davis Cup final, you do not get a replica of the Davis Cup, which we did in 1987, but they give you a miniature of the Davis Cup. I didn't get it. It bothered me for many years. So in 2006, I was at a party at Wimbledon. So I went up to the president of the ITF, International Tennis Federation, a guy called Richie Beattie, and I told him, it's really not fair that for no reason we were penalized that we did not get the Davis Cup trophy because the government defaulted that match. So I told him, I think it's about time we rectified the situation. So a month later, all 4 of us on the team, Vijay, me, Jazz Singh and Sachin Menon, got our Davis Cup trophies. In many years, I was really pleased with that. But fortunately, in 1987, we got to the Davis Cup final again, where we played against Sweden, and the team was a lot better than we were. And we had to go to Gothenburg and play on the clay courts over there. We knew we had no chance. But we were just happy to be in the final, beat Australia in Sydney. We got to the final, so we were very happy.
The Australian win was a fantastic one, actually.
Australian win was a fantastic one.
It was really good.
So we had a really good time. And then we went to Sweden, and I mean, we were playing one of the world's best teams on their home court, on their surface.
And up against the then world number one Maxwell Yanner.
He's from number one team in double.
Stephen Edberg was just evolving himself there.
That's right. So it was a difficult thing.
From being denied to play to actually chasing it, it needs a lot of grit and passion, yeah. So that has been his life's journey, so obviously. Now, also Mr. Anand, you have been a doubles specialist. So how did your relationship building with your partner on the court feel like, and what advice do you have for people who are partnering probably in business or for their relationship at home?
3-in-1.
Yeah, 3-in-1. That's a, yeah. But tennis compared to the other two is pretty easy. But, you know, talking about business and marriage or relationships is much more difficult. Tennis, I had a brother that we grew up together and we played doubles together for 15 years. So that was the easy part because we enjoyed doing the same things. We enjoyed practicing, we enjoyed Indian food wherever we were, whether it was in London or New York or any place else. We knew what we were going to do that night. We were going to go out to Indian food, and we liked to, luckily we were very similar, so we liked to do the same thing. Now when you talk about business and relationships, they're far more difficult. You know, you're dealing with
That's why we need your insight. How did you manage it?
Well, I was married for 40 years to a woman that was not my parents' first choice. You know, and I always tell the story of how when I decided to marry my wife, who was American, I took her to England and to meet my parents. Yeah, you might have. But I took her to England, and she was blonde, white, and totally what my parents did not expect. So and they were ready to setting me all these arranged marriages that I wasn't ready for. Anyways, so Simon and I took her to Wimbledon, and I stayed at the Westbury in London. My parents at Vijay and Ashok stayed at Gloucester. And for the first time in my life, I never saw them for 2 weeks because they refused to have dinner with me and her. And it was simple as that. So they didn't want any part of it. So I said, you know, now what do I do? And so the next April, when she had a break from school, I brought her to here, Chennai, to Madras. And we lived in a big house, my parents and we lived upstairs, my grandmother lived downstairs. So I took her downstairs to meet my grandma, my mother's mother. So we went down, and one of my favorite stories. So so we went downstairs, and I took her to meet my grandma, and I said, Mama, this is her. And my grandmother never thought any white woman was good looking. Not Marilyn Monroe, not Jane Mansfield, not anybody, not even one. So I took her down, and I said, this is so she looked her up, and she looked her down, and she looked at her sideways, and she said, looked at me, and she said, sorry. So I said, great, you know.
That was a master stroke.
That's a very good stroke. So she said, sorry, stroke. So I said, you know, talk to your daughter, and tell her. And so she called my mother down. My mom came down, and she said, what's your problem? What's your problem? So she said, the girl is beautiful, she's Catholic, and put her in the kitchen for 2 weeks and teach her how to cook Indian food, and your son will be happy. So, exactly what happened. I don't think you're going to tell the girls nowadays to go sit in the kitchen for 2 weeks and cook Indian food.
That was a litmus test.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened, and she was a very good cook of Indian food. So.
Okay, as they say, players na பயங்கர strategy oda win பண்ணுவாங்க அப்படினு சொன்னாங்க. It's not just on the court, it's off the court as well. Any strategy எங்க தட்டினா எங்க காய் விழும் அப்படிங்கிறது ஒரு ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் பிளேயரா இருந்து வீட்லயே அதை இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. That's wonderful. Okay. So when you're playing sport at the national level, at the international level, there's simply a lot of pressure. And there's a lot of comments which is coming from outside. There's a lot of criticism from the media, or like now it is just too much of criticism. Like how was it back then, and how did you handle it?
I think it was quite similar. Maybe not as bad as now with social media, internet, this and that. We didn't have that obviously 40 years ago. But you know, I mean, there was criticism in the newspapers and this and that. But I was never that sensitive. Luckily, my brother Vijay was a little bit more sensitive, so he took it more to heart. I didn't worry about what people thought of me. They didn't like my hair to begin with. I said, you don't like it, you know what you can do with it. So I was not one to worry about what people thought of me and whatever else, you know. So, but last December, amazingly, at this age in my life, I live on a high hill in Calabasas in Los Angeles. I was walking down my street, and this car pulls up next to me, and the guy rolls down the window, and he tells me, have you ever done any commercial work before? So I said, no, I've been on the cover of a magazine, a tennis magazine, but I've never done any, this was last year, I've never done any commercial work. So he says, well, I'm shooting a commercial in 5 days. We'd love to have you in it. My wife likes your hair. So the wife gets out of the car, comes around, and takes pictures, and they've got a baby in the back. And so I thought somebody was pulling my leg to set me up. It was a big joke, you know. So I told him, come and meet me at Starbucks for coffee tomorrow. So he shows up, this is on a Saturday, so Sunday morning he shows up, and we have coffee, and I said, seriously, you really mean that? He said, yeah, no, I'm doing a national commercial, I want to be part of it. So I said, he said, what do you do? He had no idea about tennis, he had no idea about anything. So I said, don't just only have me at 6 o'clock, you know, I'll come at 9. He said, no, that's fine. So I went there, I did the commercial from 9 to 6 in the evening. He said, you know, there's a lot of waiting around. Fine. And they paid me like $2,000 for 1 day. I said, that's pretty good. So I sat there, I did the commercial, and this time, just before I left for Wimbledon, he told me, you know, we're doing a Dove hair commercial.
So the first commercial was for a non-alcoholic drink. It didn't have anything to do with the hair.
Yeah.
Now it's coming back to where it belongs to the hair.
Yeah.
He's doing an ad for it.
So he was the director of commercials, this guy, just by accident. And so he said, you know, and he knew nothing about tennis, zero. And his father, who lived in Malibu Beach, he showed him the commercial. So the father looked at him and said, you don't know who this guy is? So he said, oh, no, who is he? So he said, he's one of the most famous tennis players to come out of India. So he said, and the father was a massive tennis fan. He used to go to Indian Wells, Wimbledon and all that. So he said, you know, you're so lucky you got him in the commercial. Which is an absolute joke, because he had no, now when I spoke to him, he said, you know, anytime you want to do it, to let me know. So I might have a new career in life.
I think it's already established from last year.
that was last year.
So the tennis journey has been so phenomenal for Anand sir. So he's now privileged to be part of the last 8 club in Wimbledon. So sir, you could please elucidate on that.
The last 8 club in Wimbledon, there's only a few Indians that belong to it. And it is for people who have reached the semi-final of the singles or doubles in Wimbledon. So that includes Vijay, myself, Ramesh, and Ramanathan Krishnan, obviously. And there is a special suite where we all have a place, and everybody in the last 8 club has the names on the wall. So it's a fun place to go and look at everybody's names and see who's there. They have everybody from Federer to Steffi Graf to Serena to everybody else, and they have others. And also surprisingly, not surprisingly, but amazingly, they have my daughter-in-law who's married to my son. Her name is Alison Risk. She's Alison Risk Amritraj. And she last 2 years she hasn't played. She played here in 2022. And she was the highest ranking, was 18 in the world. And she was a very, very good player. And she's my son's wife. And temporarily she's quit tennis because she's had a baby. And so her name is on the wall as well. So the last 8 club is a pretty significant group to belong to.
And the best part is he's the youngest in the entire club. Because of the personality.
I wish. Yeah, I wish.
I also feel he's youngest at heart. What do you say, ladies and gentlemen? No, the more I read about him, I felt he's like a man of substance, sportsmanship, and style. You see any of his videos, it's like pretty stylish, and it also comes from his thought process, his mindset, right? So he doesn't really give a damn about what others are thinking.
That's true. Yeah.
Now that's where the mindset starts. Me and Suraj, when we were discussing yesterday how to take this forward so that we can get a lot of your wisdom through to the audience, we thought we should approach it like sports, life and beyond. So let's just get into life right now. Like how has tennis changed you as a person over the years?
How has tennis changed me as a person? It's an interesting question. I would say Vijay said actually in an article, interestingly, which I didn't know, and Vijay knows me as well as, you know, anybody, and he said, things in life come easily to me, which I had not thought about. You know, I thought to myself, when I read that, I said, wow, I didn't realize that. The only thing that didn't come easily to me in life, amazingly, was tennis. I had to work hard at it, and you know, I was talented, but not to the extent of, say, Federer or Nadal or something like that. You know, talented a reasonable amount, but you know, not to that level, which I knew, and but the thing in life and in tennis and in business, I assume, is you have to learn to deal with how the ups and downs in life. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. Tennis especially, you're going to get to match point, you're going to lose matches, which I have on several occasions, unfortunately. But you know, I've also managed to win matches being done. And amazingly, at the last 8 club last year, I ran into a guy who was one of my all-time favorites. He was turning 90. His name was Ken Rosewall. He's one of the greatest of Australians. So I wasn't even sure that he would recognize me because you know he's 89 years old. So I went to him and said, "Muscles." His nickname was Muscles because he had no muscles. So you know, that's Australians call it Muscles. You know, so I went to Muscles. "Oh, Anand, it's so lovely to see you." I didn't think he recognized me, let alone know my name. So he said, "Anand, so lovely to see you. I haven't been to the last 8 in so many years. We shook hands and stuff." And so we chatted for a while. And then I reminded him of the time where I had 5-4, love 30 in the final set in the first round against him when he beat me. And he's the only guy who beats me, and he beat Vijay on 4 consecutive occasions. We both didn't beat him, and the guy's 90 years old now. And they have a stadium which I always felt they give Labour all the recognition. They don't give him enough. But fortunately, there's a stadium in Sydney named after him.
But do you feel that the tennis of today, in the present generation, are having the same kind of a lifestyle like what you all experienced in the past?
Tennis is a one-on-one sport. It's like golf or boxing or whatever. And doubles is when you turn 35, you can play doubles. But you know, personally, that's my feeling on it. And you know, you don't start off wanting to play doubles. You know, I can understand Rohan Gopala. He's a very good friend of mine. I spent time with him last week. And when you're 40 years old, it's a great idea. You might as well play doubles. But you know, the focus as you grow up as a child, I never thought of, you know, I thought of Krishna, J.D. Bukati, Prabhu Lal, all these guys who were prior to us. And you know, they all played singles, they played doubles also, but it was kind of by the way.
So adding to the business aspect of tennis, it was their family which found the Britannia Amritraj Tennis Academy. And Sir was the one who used to choose players. So yeah. Would you like to add on to that?
Exactly. But I used to come here every school year. We started, the school year ended like in March, April. I was one, my mom always said, "Oh, you should come here and pick the boys." So I came here, and I used to come in January, you know, March, April, and pick the kids. My very first pick in the first year, 95, was Rohit Rajpal, who is our current Davis Cup captain. My first pick in year number 2 was Leander Pace. So I picked him. He came here and spent, you know, 5 years. The term was 5 years. So first was Rohit. Second, then we had Gaurav Nateka, we had Asif Ishmael, all of these. And we had 8 boys whom, thanks to Britannia and Nabisco, we put them in 2 apartments. They had a good life. And my mother took care of them like they were, you know, a family. So they had a very good life, and they're eternally grateful to her. But you know, that's why our Indian tennis, and we started in 85, we closed in 2005 after my mom got too old to, you know.
Was Somdev part of it? Somdev? Was he part of the...
Was last group. Yeah. I picked Somdev last group. But my mother, typical of having had 3 sons, her best line was, one of the boys from northern India, I forget his name, he had a sister who joined the academy with us. You know this? Yeah. We had 20 years of boys, and we had 1 girl. And my mom always said she was more trouble than all the other boys put together. Which I thought was interesting because my mother was a mother for boys. You know, she was not exactly a mother.
Had that sister not joined BAT, it would have become Boys Amritraj Academy.
It would have.
It is completely boys, and it was filled with boys and players, big men.
Yeah. And we had the last top star was Somdev, was India's #1 for 5-6 years. And when I was Davis Cup captain from 2013 to 2018, he was my top player.
So that was like IIT, basically. Yeah. All the top people come out of them. So that was how it is.
Yeah.
Now, I'm very tempted to ask this question, which has been lingering in my mind since childhood. சின்ன வயசுல வந்து 8 மணிக்கு நியூஸ் போடுவாங்க. நியூஸ் போடும்போது கடைசியில் வந்து ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் செக்ஷன் இருக்கும். இது நடந்தது, இது நடந்தது, கிரிக்கெட் நடந்தது, டென்னிஸ், ஒலிம்பிக்ஸ் வரும்போது I used to always ask this question, hey, why is that the other countries have so many more medals compared to India, more so when it comes to Olympics? And I used to ask too many questions to my mother. One answer she definitely has is she used to turn off the TV. She is like ghost time, right? And it's absolutely a privilege to ask somebody like you, because you have also seen the other side of the world. You've been in the US, you've seen how, you know, the sports system is structured and how is it in India, and when are the numbers going to improve? It is steadily improving the last few years, but...
Well, I can't speak for the other sports because I'm not a huge, you know, I know the Olympics are coming to Los Angeles in 2028, and I'm going to try and be here at that time because I'm not, you know, we played the Olympics in Seoul, and I'm not, I think tennis, I'm more of a tennis player than a general sports fan as such, whether it's cricket, football, whatever. So, you know, I'm just true to the game that I like. Second choice is chess. Okay. Having said that, you know, why we have less medals is a good question for me. I mean, we're so good at cricket, we're so good at other sports, aside from tennis recently. And, you know, to me it all comes down to hard work. Whether you're a 100-meter sprint runner or you're a marathoner or whatever, it comes down to dedication and hard work. But in anything, in life in general, I mean, sport is one part of it, one aspect of it. I feel that whether it is tennis or business or whatever, it's the work you put into it, you'll get what you put in. Is generally how I feel.
Why do you feel that few of the Indian players, at least today, are going abroad to train? I mean, what's the reason for that?
It might not be such a bad idea. I talked to Maya's mother in Wimbledon. She just came up to me. I don't know who she was. And she came up to me and I chatted with her for a while. She said, oh, my daughter's at the Academy. Yeah, which is great. I mean, you know, I guess we don't have anything similar to bat now. That's part of the problem.
And is bat.
Yeah. And I don't know, I'm not been here enough to say how the infrastructure is, and whether it's in Madras or Delhi or Mumbai or I'm not fully acquainted with it, so I don't want to pass any judgments. But you know, I mean, you need to have a good setup, you need to have financial backing. I have these two young boys I play with in the US, and both Indian origin. One is Sharma, and I used to play. I played with him when he was 12. His father came up to me as a doctor. He said, I would like to hit with my son. I said, absolutely. And my son is ranked #1 in the US at 12. He was only this high. So he comes up and I play with him. Beautiful player. I thought, wow, this kid can really be a good player. And you know, so every Monday I used to play with him. I used to come fully prepared because I knew I was in for a battle. So and the kid's 12 years old. So, and I used to come hit with him, hit with me. We used to play points, games, pretty much what I do with you, side. So, and
yeah, we have a tennis player in the gathering here.
Yeah. So anyway, so I used to play with him, exactly the same thing. And one day I came prepared, and he had a bad day in school. He comes and I beat him up. So he comes to me at the night, he shakes my hand and says, Uncle, you played very well today. So I thought it was damn cute. Now he's 14. And he's too good for me. I can't play with him anymore. He just, you know, he just hits the ball too hard. He serves too big, and so you know, I'm just out of the league. He's out of my league now. Then the other kid, Rahul Pawar, he's from New Jersey. They moved to Florida so they could go to Tennessee. So I told both the fathers, you need to get your sons Indian passports so they can play Davis Cup for us. You know? Yeah, I told both the fathers.
I think even Nishesh Basu already, the other guy is like, yeah, he's another Indian American who's like broken into the top 100, but he plays for the States. So,
so I've been telling all their fathers, you know, especially these two boys, since I've known them since they were children. I told them, you know, you need to seriously think about getting Indian passports for your sons. You know, so, and they should, because both of them will be. But first college tennis, I don't think anybody should go into the pros right away. First you go to college, get your education as well, and then improve your tennis. So,
the next question is, how do you manage your mental strength? Is it inborn or have you cultivated over the period of time? Because one, in your game you would have seen extremes. Within the game, within your sports career, both extremes you would have up, down. Business similarly up, down. All this mood, there are every opportunity for you to have a mood swing. How do you manage this? And what's your advice for us?
Mental strength to a large extent, I think, yes, you can never be able to emulate Federer, Nadal, Djokovic in mental strength. Okay, you can stand on your head and do whatever you want. It's not going to happen. You know, it's just that some people are just born with it better than others, especially Novak, in my opinion. You know, some you have it in varying degrees. You know, and some people who are the best of all time. I mean, these three are the greatest of all time. You know, Bob was good, McEnroe was good. There's a lot of people who are great players, but not in this league, in my opinion. I know in sport I can tell you that. In business, you know, a lot of it has to be in the right place at the right time. Which is true in tennis as well. I mean, it's not all sport in general. So.
Thank you. Now, you seem to be an epitome of fitness. You will have to tell us one about your fitness routine and what advice you would like to give us all. We also want to be at least 10% of what you are.
You're being very modest, thank you. So, but I try to do a little bit every day. I play tennis 4 times a week, 3 to 4. Usually when I'm in LA, home in LA, I've got this group. I set up my tennis hits on a regular basis. And here in Chennai, it's easy. I have a lot of friends I can play with. But there, I have to get these guys, and I like to play at certain times, and a lot of them are working, so I go to play at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And so I'm very careful. I try to hit at least 3, minimum 3, sometimes 4 times a week.
I think we can be generous if you want to clap. Yeah, I think you guys can be generous because they've been brilliant.
And the other thing is, as some of my friends have said, you eat like a bird. I don't eat that much. Here I have breakfast and then I have dinner. That's it. I hardly have maybe snack a little bit of the day. And I eat more here than I do when I'm home, when I'm in LA. But I try to keep my weight about 75, 76 kilos. Which all the doctors have told me, you know, they all told me, Anand, you need to put on 5 kilos or 4 kilos because for your height, you need to be 175, 180 pounds. So I'm trying. I'm eating chocolate cake in the morning. So for breakfast. Yeah, I will. Believe me, I love the mutton biryani. I'll be happy to have it every day when I'm here. So it's it's lucky. But my brother Vijay has a problem with weight. No, he has to be extremely careful. Well, yeah. So I've just got better genes when it comes to eating, for sure.
What I see from whatever Mr. Anand has been telling is he has always had good problems to deal with in life. Wanting to put on weight is much better a problem to solve than to lose weight.
Yeah, so. True. That's very true.
I'm very fortunate to be here today with you, sir. My question is, you said you intend to spend more time, maybe next 10 years in Chennai. So do you have any plans to support any academy for tennis in Chennai? Like bat, anything like cat or mat?
You know, I'm not very good with kids who are just starting out. Even when my son was starting tennis, I didn't coach him. I got a coach in who taught the basics of the game very well. Forehand, backhand, like my old coach, you know. But after he got to be 12, 13 and he could hit 10 balls in a row, then I got him to do it. So I'm not very good with beginners. So I'm much better with people who can play reasonably well. So to answer your question, honestly, I'd rather do on an individual basis, play with good juniors, 13, 14-year-olds who play here, good female tennis players whom I like to play with, and try to give them tips, both physical and mental, as to how to move to the next level. You know, I don't have any plans to start something here. All right. I think there's enough with the TMTA and all that going on.
The association is also actively involved in the academy. So on that note, I think it was wonderful to have Anand Amritraj here. So, it all started when Radhakrishna, the president, we go back a long way. I mean, through the BNI, we connected, and then we, established a relationship there. So she came out and asked me, could you think of a celebrity whom you can bring over? And my first person which comes to my mind is this vibrant gentleman right next to me. So it was indeed a pleasure, sir, to have you over. I thank the President and the Rotary Club of Guindy for an exciting evening. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves.
Thank you so much, Suraj. Thank you so much, Suraj, for getting a legendary person like him to Rotary Club of Guindy. It is absolutely an honor for everybody here to actually see him in flesh and blood and actually listen to him. And it has definitely been an inspiring evening. I'm sure this will go on forever, this conversation, but we would like to open the space up for people to come and have a personal conversation with you. I'm sure you guys enjoyed the conversation. What I take back from this is when you have the grit, passion, and you're willing to work hard, anything can be yours. So thank you so much for being an amazing audience. Can you all have a standing ovation for all that the gentleman has done for the country and for the sport? Thank you so much, sir.
Again, it's a proud moment. Our member, Rotarian past President Balaji's daughter is going to be installed as District Annex Chair. Signed the week. You know, it's a great moment for us. So we will post more information about it. And Sai, can I request you to get recognized? She is an Indian tennis player amongst us. You know, Suraj's close friend, and Sai's parents are also there. Sir, Anand sir, you start with love all, but Rotarians, we end with love all. Thank you so much. Lots and lots of love to you.
Good evening, friends. Anybody who has been in their pre-teens and had walked on a court, you could not but believe that you are an Amritraj in the making. Such was the reputation the trio of brothers had across Chennai and across India, that it's been absolutely nostalgic seeing you. And in particular, I must mention, though I did have the opportunity to run into him somewhere or the other across Chennai, he was a La MGR of the times, and both in dressing and otherwise if page 3 were to be believed, and all the folklores of the times has to be recorded or stated here, with his permission of course. So it's a pleasure meeting you. Similarly, if you were to walk into bat, and I think I personally believe that Britannia Amritraj Tennis Academy was way ahead of its time. All the leagues that you're speaking of today, if it was in existence today, I can assure you that it would have created a tennis league of its own, with me having all the best players that you could ever imagine. Thank you very much for having accepted our invitation. Our pleasure.